Hello, everyone. Welcome. So, if you could either close your eyes or turn your gaze inward, sit comfortably and welcome your experience just as it is. We invite ourselves to settle into being, presence in this moment, allowing things as they are. Thoughts may appear to you, sensations, perceptions, to simply recognize being, effortless awareness. Nothing that we need to do. Presence is awareness, is effortlessly. There is no one doing anything. To welcome whatever appears to you openly, unconditionally, without any history. To be completely not knowing, to meet your experience not in time, because between every thought there is a gap, the gap of awareness, and everything which appears to you within the gap, within this silent presence, effortlessly aware, knowing, not seeking anything, resting in itself as itself. this creative non-activity. Like the river, it seems to flow, but it's not moving. And yet, in this waking dream, we perceive movement. But we are the non-movement. In this movement, like the breath, like the heartbeat, is embraced in the non-movement. So allow yourself, invite yourself to be completely not knowing, to relax and release and give space to whatever appears to you without any personal intention. It's not necessary. In the silence, it is revealed that you are this silence, that this silence is universal, impersonal. And it is this silent, still presence which perceives, which is I am. It is this transparent, still, silent awareness which knows it is aware and knows that it is. I know I am. The I am somebody is a mind narrative, a game of sort within the dream. But to know oneself as the non-dual self, one reality, formless, borderless, invisible to the senses. Then the I am somebody is no longer limiting. At the mind level, we believe we are limited entities. But there is an understanding which bypasses the mind, which reveals your true nature as the source, that which in this moment is undeniable and is not subject to time and space. Freedom from limitation, the impression of personhood, which comes hand in hand with existential fear. It is the understanding about our true nature, about reality, which enlightens the mind and heals, restores order. The light of understanding guides the mind. Without the guidance, the proper guidance, the body mind is deeply conditioned, infected by the belief in separation, worries and concerns, regrets, disappointments, inner struggles, which express themselves in relationships, the satisfaction. So, for now, in this moment, we invite the mind to come to rest in the light of awareness, which is always on. We invite the body to be as its true nature, without borders, so that the breath is the universe breathing. I am, and I don't know what I am. There is no need to know. Being is sufficient unto itself. One beingness, complete not knowing. We meet in form, but our true meeting is formless. So If you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, you're welcome to raise your hand, and there is a react button in the bottom of the screen where you can also raise your hand. Hi, George.
Hello, Magdi. Hello, everyone. You mentioned existential fear, and I wonder if you could say some more about that.
So, what comes hand in hand with the belief that I, consciousness, awareness, is a body mind entity existing in time and space, is the fear of ending, because body minds, anything which arises in time and space, has a beginning and an ending. So the existential fear is the core fear of all fears, the heart of all fears is the fear of ending, consciousness ending, I ending. And this fear of death, the thorn of mortality, is removed with the thorn of understanding, the glimpses into the self, the understanding about truth, about reality, the inquiry into the belief that I refers to a body mind named Magdi or whatever, that refers to a form or to a soul. The inquiry in that belief is a core inquiry to arrive to not knowing, the understanding that there is no evidence that substantiate this belief. And therefore, there is no need to hold on to a belief that has no evidence. In the background, there is this worry and concern about me. This very concern about me is about my existence, my life, my future, my existence. But there is no personal existence outside of the mind impression that there is a personal existence, because existence refers to being. And being does not refer to personal being, it's universal being. There's only one being. We all refer to I, or I am, in the same manner. Of course, we also recognize that there are differences between body minds, male, female body minds, tall, short, all sorts of differences in the realm of perceptions, in that which appears, like various shapes and size of waves that arise on the surface of the ocean, but their true nature is water. So this existential fear is the core of all fears, the fear of the ending of consciousness.
And how does one overcome that fear? How does one not let that fear be an obstacle to the recognition of who we really are?
Well, we have to inquire into the belief that you are George. And into the emotion of fear, which arises when the fear of death or any sort of fear that arises is an obstacle between you and you consciousness, and you consciousness, you knowing yourself. The fear keeps you at bay. So the direction is not a direction away from the fear, but a direction towards the fear. Sort of step into the fire to realize that it's a paper tiger, that this fire is not really killing you, is not burning you. It's just an old habit of maintaining distance between you, the perceiver in chief, the reality that is, and the sensation which appears to you as a result of the belief that you are a mortal entity. The fear of death arises to you as a sensation, bodily sensation. And our habitual pattern from the perspective of ignorance is to run away from this fear. So there is the understanding about your true nature as this transparent, effortless awareness right now in this moment. That which perceives is not an object, is not a form, is not phenomenal. That understanding, and also in your life to challenge the habit to give power to the paper tigers, which are the negative emotions. In some traditions, it's encouraged to explore the past traumas that trigger the fears. That's maybe also a relevant approach for some people. But here we invite the understanding that all fears arise out of existential fear, and that existential fear arises out of the wrong identification, wrong identity, mistaken identity. And this mistaken identity is made out of belief, tradition, and of course, contractions within the body, the sense of self, the sense of me, the sense of personhood. You follow?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
And you've been in this inquiry for quite a while now.
Yes, I've been here even when you were still living in the DC area.
Yes.
A
So
lot.
you're well on your way.
I don't know if I'm on my way or not. I don't know.
You wouldn't be here if you weren't.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And it's good not to know. Any questions? Hello, Joy. Let me see. Ask to unmute. Okay, you have to unmute yourself.
There we go.
Yes. Hey, good to see you.
Thank you. I have a question that kind of ties in with George's question, in that if when you wake up, then the dream ends, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if the dream ends, then what are you perceiving?
Well, in the relative sense, talking about the night dream, when the night dream ends, it's clear to you that whatever was unfolding in your night dream, whatever experiences you had in your night dream, were just your mind. They had no reality of their own. That the reality of your night dreams was you, the dreamer. In the absolute sense, in the sense of consciousness awakening to itself, in the waking state, once you awaken to the understanding that you are this formless presence and there is only one reality, which is the reality of consciousness, what happens is that the thorn of ignorance is removed from the body mind. In other words, suffering is no longer on board. Psychological worries and concerns, existential fear, no longer on board. And the waking dream sweetened. It becomes a realm where there is a celebration and contemplation and creative pursuits. Life becomes sort of a flow, a harmonious flow.
Okay, so it's not that the dream ends, it's that the dream sweetens.
Yes, the ignorance in the dream ends. Of course, it's a process. I'm not just talking about one glimpse does it all. There are a series of glimpses and understandings that at some point there is the final veil drops, as a way of speaking. Yes. Yeah, the dream does not end, it just sweetens.
Okay. I have to think about that some more.
Okay.
Because what if the body mind in the dream that is now sweet um experiences something that's what you would consider suffering, then but you don't perceive it. Like, how does that perception change into celebration from suffering?
Yeah, what shifts is that in the absence of the me belief and the me feeling, in the absence of the sense of separation, there are practical concerns that may arise. Goodness, what builder am I going to use? Am I going to use this builder or that builder? Situations may arise with your car, situations may arise with your body. There may be some concerns, practical, concerns that arise. But what will not arise, what will no longer arise, is the psychological concern, the absolute concerns, the concerns about the self, about me, about I. So there's a distinction between the body-mind organism, the home, the car, the life, the waking dream. There is a distinction between that and I. So the I that was somehow identified with the body-mind, that was located as a way of speaking into the body-mind or connected to the body-mind, is released from that bond, is released from that identity, from that identification, and is released back to its source, which is this formless awareness. So it's like the metaphor of the clouds and the sky. There are still clouds that appear in the sky. Some have the shape of dragons, others have shapes of angels. But the wide open sky is unaffected, is not conditioned by the shape and size of the clouds that appear within it.
Thank you.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Now I'll think about that.
Yeah. The job that is on hand is to contemplate whatever beliefs we have about ourselves, because beliefs about consciousness, because we are that, we are consciousness, whatever beliefs we have about ourselves, and to be free from belief. A fact is a fact, okay? This body has 2 arms, right arm, left arm, 10 fingers. Fact is a fact. Evidence is right there. But to be free from beliefs that have no evidence that substantiate them. Because if there is evidence for a belief, it's no longer a belief, it's a fact, right? So to clear our body-mind from beliefs about I, mainly, because this is really what we're talking about consciousness, the beliefs about the self. We have a tendency when we refer to I, we say I, joy, or I, Megdi, I, the body. So it's like we start with the assumption, which is unexamined, but we're raised with it, that I refers to the body, mind, Megdi. We're not raised to understand that I refers to awareness. And of course, that's what we speak about in these meetings, but I'm talking in society at large. I refers to the mind in the society at large. And this is what we question. The mind appears to you, you being this invisible, formless, borderless awareness. The mind, meaning thoughts, perceptions, sensations, appear to you. So how could you be something which appears to you? If you perceive a mountain, the mountain, the image, the perception appears to you. You are not the mountain. So that's the path of inquiry, which Atmananda Menon refers to as a higher reasoning.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Any questions? Oh, Maria. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Magdi. Hello, everyone. Magdi, in relation to emotions, you mentioned that sensations or contractions in the body comes from the belief of the I being a separate body mind. Is that correct?
To a certain degree, it is correct, but there are contractions that arise, in the body from eating the wrong food, or I don't know, like maybe being challenged physically in some way, or sometimes contractions arise, in the body in sort of maybe being in distasteful situation, or this distasteful relationship. The body sort of mirrors this distaste, which sometimes I remember being in a relationship with somebody who was quite a bully, and I would definitely experience the contractions within my body in being in a relationship with him. So yes, there are certain types of contractions that are, not related to ignorance, which are more like situational, and they make sense because the body mind is wired for flow and ease, and when the body is in a situation that is out of the ordinary. For example, like if you're driving in traffic for quite a few hours, or even less, driving in traffic, the body is just sitting in that box, and there is a contraction that happens. It's a physiological contraction that doesn't have to do with ignorance. I mean, it's just body is not designed to be in a box for 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever in traffic. Of course, there are other. You could have a reaction, a contraction arising out of ignorance in traffic. Is like, oh, somebody cuts you off in traffic, and then you go into the sense of separation. How could such a stupid person be allowed on the road and cut me off this way and that? So that would be a contraction, arising out of ignorance. So, back to your question, yes, there are contractions that arise within the body that are not connected to ignorance, and some that are. What we try to explore in our contemplations is the belief in separation, ignorance, in other words, and how this belief expresses itself within the body in a variety of contractions, self-hate, judgment, avoidance, and depression, and anger, and jealousy, and so on.
Yeah, Magdi, I don't know why, but when I sat down today during the meditation, tears just started flowing uncontrollably, and it feels emotional, but there was no real story linked to it. It had like a sense of being touched deeply and sense of gratitude. But it felt very emotional. And I hope it wasn't from ignorance, these emotions that arose, but they were there.
I mean, you would know, because it would not be, there would not be the sweetness. So the body can release, and one of the ways in which it releases is sometimes through tear, sometimes through laughter. There's a sort of a freedom. Um, to worry whether these tears might be rising out of ignorance is ignorance.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you, Maria. Any questions? Hello, Holger.
Is ignorance a mistake?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear the first.
Is ignorance a mistake in the whole system, or is it?
Well, there are no mistakes when it comes to God, right? God makes no mistakes. But one reality, when it comes to one reality, when it comes to consciousness, there are no mistakes. It's at the mind level that we perceive mistakes.
To nail it down, it's just the difference for me to discover the difference between believing and knowing.
How do you define both believing and knowing?
You would need to ask ChatGPT.
No, no cheating.
I mean, the believing is being, identifying myself as this body mind, as this Olga entity. Like, it's just a habit. It's just.
So there is a thought that appears to you, I am Holger.
It's deeply ingrained in the muscle memory. I mean, it's just.
Before, in terms of the belief, before it gets ingrained into the body, mind, into the muscles, into the cells, there is a thought that appears to you, I am Holger, and you sort of ride that pony. You say, all right, that's right.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a belief, like, okay, I am a pink flying elephant. So I ride that pony. Now I believe I'm a pink flying elephant. And then what comes next is, yes, that I'm going to feel that I'm a pink flying elephant. It goes into the muscle memories and into the cells. So a belief is a thought that appears to you, that you check it. You say yes, without verification, without evidence, without. It's like, oh, well, the earth is flat. And you say, okay, the earth is flat. Everybody believes and feels the earth is flat. Okay, so then you're going to ride that pony.
Yeah.
Somebody jumps off the cliff and says, we jump off the cliff, you're going to, I don't know, become an angel or whatever. And many people are jumping off the cliff because they believe they're going to become angels, so you jump off the cliff believing that you're going to become an angel. Or maybe you will, I don't know. Who knows? But so a belief is a thought structure that appears to you that hasn't been verified, hasn't been investigated. So the invitation is to inquire into your beliefs, in particular your beliefs that you're Holger, or that you're somebody, or that there is a soul, or that you exist in time and space. And and the other thing you were talking about, I think, was knowing, right? Was it knowing that?
Yes, knowing.
So knowing, how would you define knowing? What is it you know?
Yeah. Yeah, not much.
Not much. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
I mean, there's a lot of information we have about the jet engine, about more or less about some information about AI or whatever. We have some information.
Yes.
But in terms of knowing, well, I know I am. I know that there is something rather than nothing. I know that there is awareness. I have a direct experience of awareness right now. It's not like a theory or somebody told me, hey, you know what, there is awareness. I say, oh, really? Where? Well, look, read this book. No, I know there is awareness because I'm aware. It's undeniable. But beyond that, beyond sat and chit, sat chit, what do you know?
That you are some type of angel.
I must have jumped off the cliff then. All right.
Yeah, the cliff of the me belief. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Magdi. Yes. So in the moment right now, I can just detect or inquire or see if I'm involved in a story, in thinking, or if I can just relax as awareness.
Yeah. A story appears to you, a thought appears to you. You are the awareness.
And I either jump into the story because there's some juice in it, some goodies, or I can just allow to let the story be whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just,
I mean, it's okay to jump into the goodies. Like, for example, if you thought appears to you that I'd love to have some chocolate ice cream, or I'd love to learn how to play the violin, you can jump into that. You can go for it. What we're talking about is knowing yourself as consciousness, knowing yourself as awareness. Doesn't mean you don't jump into the dream and play the dream. Why not? I mean, you can just travel, you can visit friends, you can write poetry, whatever, it's life is there for you. It's not something outside of you. It's not like something out there. So it's for you to play life, enjoy life, celebrate life, but not to know yourself as anybody or as anything, because except if you come to some clear evidence that about anything that you're looking at.
I think right now I feel Maria's tears. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you so much.
You're all good. Good to see you. Hi, Rula. Need to unmute yourself.
Hi. Sorry, having trouble for a second. مرحبا أهلا.
أهلا كيفك؟
So my question is, I mean, I've had this experience, but still the question comes up. Really, can I just not think about what I have to do? For example, I have a million and one things to do, right? This month, next month, my daughter's graduating, my son is driving. I have so many things, and it's just me, you know. And every morning I wake up with anxiety that's not it just comes to me, all the thoughts about what I have to do today, and then it feels anxious. And it's a habit. It's a very old habit, which I'm very familiar with. But there have been times when, for whatever reason, it just stops. Like I literally had one day when it just all stopped, and I still had a million things to do. And somehow, when it came time to do it, I just did it. Or the thought,
yeah,
now you have to do it. Now you have to make this call, whatever. But there are so many things that oftentimes I feel like, you know, you have to make a list. You have to think about it. Making a list is a different story. I can get organized externally, but I have to think about it in order for all the, you know, I have like 10 balls up in the air at once. And if I don't think about it, I'm going to drop all. My world's going to come crashing down. It's not going to get done. My whatever.
Yeah.
But it does occur to me, like, I don't actually have to do that.
Well, if you're scheduling too many things within a certain period of time, you have to be realistic. I mean, you're only capable to do so much and to tend to so much. You're not, you know, super woman. You know, we're all limited. So that's one thing you need to look at. And maybe you have a tendency to, I mean, I'm speaking generically, I really don't know your particular situation, where you add on more and more, you know, things, you know, challenges for you. There are like some things that are priorities and some things that maybe you can sort of omit or do them later. Because you know, your life involves, you know, other people and a lot of, as you said, balls in the air. It's important to organize yourself, to, I don't know, use some sort of calendar. I use calendars, you know, and my phone to sort of remind me of many things that I need to do during the day. So I have like, and they have a color scheme, you know, that also helps me in organizing my schedule. So that's these are the practical things, you know, and also like writing notes, or some sort of alarms that remind you of things that you need to do. These are all on the practical side of the equation. On the psychological side of the equation, there are some responsibilities that sometimes we can let go of. We don't need to, like maybe some habits, some responsibilities we've adopted from our young age, and we sort of continue them. Like with my kids, I remember telling them that, okay, once they're, you know, I'm going to take care of them until they go to college. I'm going to take care of their first 4 years of college, and after that, they're on their own. Go ahead. Now, I have a couple of brothers who their kids are in their 40s, and they're still sort of assuming responsibility towards them. So you have to see if you're not taking on certain responsibilities and certain tasks that out of your conditioning. This is a general statement. The other thing is that about trusting life, thoughts appear to you. I think you did mention that, that sometimes it's just sort of, it came to you, okay, I need to do this now, I need to do that now. So also to trust that, like, for example, sometimes, when I used to go to sleep, there'll be this thought, oh, I need to do such and such a thing, in the morning or tomorrow afternoon or whatever. And so then I would be, sort of not able to really sink into sleep, right? And at some point I realized, oh, okay, well, I'm going to let it go. And it turned out, and there's been a lot of evidence for me, that next day, the thought appeared at some point in time, and it was not an issue.
Exactly.
Then I was making it like really important, but it somehow appeared. And in some cases, rare cases, the thought didn't appear, but it was okay. It wasn't. Yeah, so thoughts appear to you, and to sort of, trust that. Plus your life, not just thought, life reminds you somehow,
Yeah.
you're doing, you look out and you say, oh, gee, you see something out there, and then you say, oh, today I need to go pick up groceries, in the market, or whatever.
Yes.
So the main
Yeah.
thing is to take a look, really, at what is making you unhappy, if anything, in relation to this question.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's like, are you failing as a mother, or are you worried about your kids? I mean, what is the underlying, if any?
I guess the question stems from the experience that I'm having, which is strange experience that I feel as if I'm having, comparing. It's always been like that. A million things to do because I'm a single mom, and it continues. Maybe sometimes I take on too much, etc. But and a lot of severe anxiety that goes along with that, and like you said, falling asleep, or even all of that stuff. But the difference now between now and previous years is that I'm finding things just happening. I have an extensive, my calendar on my phone, without it, I would not survive, as far as, of course, I use it. So I'm not talking about that exactly, but more of the sense of like falling away of anxieties that were much more severe before. It's not that they don't come up, but there almost is a feeling that it's life is not going to fall apart if I don't worry about this. And
yeah, and also life is falling apart all the time.
exactly. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's almost like there's something inside that is on the edge of this cliff, seeing like it's happening anyway. And then there's something holding me back from letting go. And when I say letting go, I don't mean letting go of the lists or the organization externally,
I understand.
but letting go of that sense that I'm doing it all. And if I don't think about it and worry about it, somehow it won't happen. Somehow.
Carola, we are doing so little, so little. You know, you say I'm doing it all. Well, doing almost nothing. I mean, you think of what's happening in our body right now, okay, in terms of the zillion of things that are happening, you know, the heartbeat, the blood flow, the all the different minerals and electrical charges across membranes and all of that, and the synaptic activities in the brain. Like we're not doing any of this. I mean, breathing. I mean, we're inhaling and exhaling nonstop. We're blinking. There's so much that we're not doing that is being done. I mean, gravity and the temperature of the planet and all of this. This whole thing about like me doing, I'm doing, it's all being done. And it's being done and undone simultaneously. I mean, this body is constantly, cells are constantly being born and dying. Your thoughts are born and dying. And that's not happening just for you, it's happening throughout the whole thing. Your kids, the space, the trees, the nature. At the core, like there is this some me, you know, this illusory me that's trying to hold it together. What are you holding together? What are we holding together? So little.
Yeah, it's like I guess there's a difference between, you know, it's much more clear that, you know, I'm not in charge of the weather or my bodily functions, or, you know, this is very clear, you know, when
Your thoughts, even your thoughts, and
yeah,
and the
that
thoughts of your children, and
yes, it's becoming more clear that the thoughts are just coming. That's why I'm saying, like, I can plan all these things and organize them and anticipate them and whatever, but the moment I do it, whatever it is I have to do, there's something is becoming clearer that there was no like that I had worried about that thing so many times.
yeah,
That one particular small thing or big thing, whatever it was, and it's just happening now. Anyway, the thought came and I did it, or something reminded me and I did it, or my alarm went off and I did it. Whatever it was, that moment I did it, and it just happened. That feels like somehow it's becoming clearer, and it's releasing me of anxiety that I used to have, and I still have some, but it's just a sense that something is different.
no, that's nice. It's sort of like, in a way, one could say that the universe is doing whatever it's doing, as well as through this body mind, through the thoughts and through the body mind. It's a universal doing, and because we're not separate from the universe, there isn't like a separate entity apart from the universe, outside of a belief and a feeling that, you know, the sense of separation. But when you contemplate your relationship with with the universe, with nature, you find that, oh my goodness, I mean, there is no separation. My body and the universe has in constant interactions. My thoughts and the universe is I'm not even choosing my thoughts. The universe is doing it, or the cosmos is doing it. And the more you sort of we understand that, the less we become contracted around, doing it right, doing it wrong. And as you're expressing, you will find more and more that, oh, well, it's sort of, there is a certain flow or a certain ease, and what you sort of need to remember or need to perceive sort of arises to you. But one of the things that I find, like in terms of choice, that at some point in time, there is the understanding that we can choose to be still. We can choose not to ride the pony of fear and reactivity, and because sometimes we experience certain emotions, certain feelings, certain sensations, and they trigger in us a certain response. And sometimes this trigger is a response that's coming from ignorance. And so one of the things that I find requires a certain skill to develop it, and trusting to just at times not to do any action, to sort of pause, press the pause button, and just be with what's happening and see what unfolds, how it shifts, you see. I find that to be an interesting little exercise to sort of it's challenging because of our tendency, the body wanting to sort of perceiving a danger and wanting to protect itself by blaming, attacking, aggressing, whatever, or self-blame or self-judgment, or being down on oneself, getting, oh God, I'm like, really, what's wrong with me? All of these are certain reactivities that come from ignorance, and there is the possibility to explore, at least, that when this arises, to be still, give yourself a little break, just to sort of take a minute. And life is a flow, like a river. Sometimes it's very easy flow. Sometimes there are some rapids, and sometimes it's just sitting. Yeah. We are the river. We are the ocean. And the waves, and but at the core, we are this undefined beingness. This that which we're certain of above everything else is I am. Not I am ruler. The being I am, and I'm aware. There is being and awareness. Everything else is conditional.
2 days ago, I was driving, and everything was it felt like one. I don't know how to describe it, but
Yeah, I get it.
Transparent, luminous, one. The body was just, I could see my hands, and the thought came like, how is it possible that you are not this body? It's impossible. Think about it, like, and then I saw the thought, I kind of laughed. And then again, it was like trying to, poke me, like, just see, somebody's driving this car. It's you. Who can it be? It was really very funny. But I could see, like, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah, there is a body and there is a car, and there's, you could say the body, there's a body driving the car, but I am the witness of all of that. I'm perceiving.
yeah.
Yeah.
The sense was, how could that perception not have a unit attached to it, a
Right.
separate unit, right? How can it just be expansive, single?
Yeah.
It was the sense of that, like it's impossible, but the thought was, trying to.
That was a glimpse into your true nature, into what you use the term expanse, into our expanse. Absolutely.
Yes, because then the sounds and the images are more difficult, but the sounds were, I don't know how to describe it, but very not at a distance, maybe, or not. Yeah, maybe that's the best way to describe it. And just here and there, and then I would suddenly be like, "What is it at a distance?" And then the mind would come back in and start exploring that, and then slow down, and suddenly it was like the sound, and there was no boundary. But this is very hard to explain that, and in and out like this as I'm driving. I'm like, you know. So it's just interesting, but
Beautiful. That's beautiful contemplation. This is like God visiting you. It's really truth visiting you. Yes. Yes. I mean, I know it sounds like dramatic words, but
no,
yeah, in terms of, it's a good question. Like, what distance is there between I, awareness, and my perception?
yeah, because I mean, I've tried this, perception exercises of trying to find the boundary between the hearing and the heard, for example, as if the sound is coming towards me and I'm hearing it. Well, just stop and really look for that boundary. Where does the sound begin and where does it reach my ear? Or, you know, um, visually, it's sometimes more difficult to do that. Sometimes it's easier. I don't know how to, it doesn't seem to be, I mean, I've done these contemplations for several years, but sometimes doesn't matter how hard I try, it's completely beyond my reach. And other times I'm just driving and the contemplation happens almost, or it happens, and then I see, oh, I can contemplate this, and then I continue to do it. But even these contemplations aren't really like in my control, or it's, I don't know.
Yeah. Very, very good. You're well on your way. That's good.
Anyway, thank you.
Okay, we'll have fun.
Bye bye.
You know, our interest in truth, our interest in understanding, there is a response from the universe. It's not, you're not alone doing this work. Your consciousness is right there. It's consciousness which is interested in its awakening to itself, unveiling itself. It's playing the game of veiling and unveiling itself. So once that interest arises, it's, in other words, once you're visited by this interest, then it's the path becomes more and more clear for you. It's comes to you and invites you to this contemplation, invites you to satsang, invites you to certain reflections. There isn't anybody doing anything or needing to do anything. Any questions?
So it seems that consciousness or God or something appears like another, but then I discover that the me is just the imagined one. The me disappears and then there's only one left.
Yeah. I mean, the me is just the current belief right now in the me. Of course, there is also the dormant me. In other words, the impression, the background impression that I'm somebody. So there is like two dimensions. One dimension of the sense of separation is the current thought that may arise to you. Oh my goodness, why is this happening to me? Or how am I doing? Am I becoming more enlightened? So the me can arise as a current on deck sort of thought belief, which of course then we can question, and in time it doesn't even need to be questioned. We just see its falsehood right away. We don't ride that pony. And there is another aspect of the sense of separation, the me belief, which is more in the background, sort of this background sense of unease, or a little background sense of sort of a sense of not complete clarity, say. And that, of course, is what gives rise to the current thought of the me thought. That background me belief requires the inquiry into which we do in our meetings, and of course, you do on your own, into the belief that that I refers to a limited entity dependent on the body mind. Is that true? Is there evidence for that? What proves that? What determines that this is true outside of it being a belief? So that inquiry is important. This is like our real homework in a way. And while dealing with the current me thought that arises right now, it's more like adjusting the wheel when you're driving on the road, so you don't get on the curb. Well, okay. Well, lovely to be with you all. Nice to see you. Joy and Philomene, Ioana, Holger, and Maria, Kunel, Patrick. Hey, Patrick. Ganesh, Alvaro, John, Anna Elena, Jenny, Rula, and George, Eloisa, hello, Eloisa, Kata, hola, Kata, Anne, and I think this is Jackie. This here, apparently, I think is Jackie, right? Yeah. If I forgot anybody. Okay. Very lovely to be with you all. Nice, and see you again. Okay.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
you,
Maggie.
Maggie.